Day number 28, 2 Corinthians 1 verse 20. No matter how many promises God has made, they are yes in Christ. Paul Johnson made a promise and Georgia Tech honored it even though nothing turned out the way everyone expected. When Jacket assistant coach Brian Cook scouted Jalen Ratliff, he saw a quarterback perfectly suited to run Tech's triple option offense. In March 2014, Ratliff made an official visit to the campus and sat down with Johnson. The head Jacket offered the youngster a scholarship, but he did more. He made a promise. "We're not like other schools," Johnson said. "If anything ever happens to you, we're going to honor your scholarship." Ratliff was a little taken aback and confused by Johnson's promise, but he understood the power behind that statement, and he committed. 5 months later, he understood why Tech's head coach had made such a statement. In late July, at his home in North Carolina, Ratliff hopped aboard an ATV and joined his brother and some friends in a ride. Short of helmets, the group decided to leave them all behind. Coming back home, Ratliff lost control of his vehicle on a turn and hit a tree so hard he lost a shoe. Tests showed massive bleeding in his brain and a fractured skull. Doctors removed part of his skull to relieve the pressure. Ratliff remained in a coma for a week. When he awakened, he couldn't walk, talk, or swallow. The first time he looked at himself in a mirror, he said, "I never saw a head like that because it was so lopsided." 5 weeks after the accident, he went home. The next night, his high school team had a game, and the whole town turned out for his homecoming. He was an honorary captain. Ratliff once said Paul Johnson's promise kept him going. He enrolled at Tech in January 2016, but was not cleared by the medical team to play football. The promise honored, he stayed at Tech on a medical scholarship and assisted Cook as a student coach. The promises you make say little about you, but the promises you keep, like Tech's to Jalen Ratliff, tell everything. The promise to your daughter to be there for her softball game, to your son to help him with his math homework, to your parents to come see them soon, to your spouse to remain faithful until death parts you. And remember what you promised God. You may carelessly throw promises around, but you can never outpromise God, who is downright prolific with his promises. For instance, he has promised to love you always, to forgive you no matter what you do, and to prepare a place for you with him in heaven. And there's more good news in that God operates on a very simple premise. Promises made are promises kept. You can rely absolutely on God's promises. The people to whom you make them should be able to rely just as surely on your promises. I can't put it in words how I felt when Paul Johnson said that. Jalen Ratliff on the head Jacket's promise. God keeps his promises just as those who rely on you expect you to keep yours.